when she ends up spying on Jeremiah and Alex as they're having their conversation, I'm like, close enough. Welcome back, Tony Blockos. Like, at this point, she's him incarnate with the. It's not a spy shack per se. I'll call it a spy salon, like a spy nail salon. I feel like that's fitting for what she pitched to Alex.
Split the vote.
Welcome back to another episode of Split the Vote. It's Tim, one of your hosts. I'm joined by my co-host, the man with the plan, who's not from Boston, but is wearing a Boston Rob hat. Rob, how are we feeling?
Yo, we're feeling good today, Tim. Yeah, that's my team. I know they were eliminated to the Yankees the other day, and that was pretty tragic for me. But, we still rep them. We're repping UNC, of course. That's my school. How you feeling today, Tim?
I'm feeling good. I'm excited to talk about the episode as always. This is Ultimate Survivor Superfan podcast made by fans, for players, for everybody who just loves Survivor. And I'm excited to be here. I'm hyped for it. And I'm not scared of snakes, Rob. Like, I'm not scared of snakes. I don't know if you're scared of snakes. I've killed some snakes before in my life. I'm from the country. I'm from Mississippi. Right, you just heard it when I just said country, Mississippi. It comes out sometimes, right? Just like a banded sea snake out of the ocean. But I have seen like snakes in my backyard, and I have just gotten rid of them with like a shovel or like a rake. So coming into this, I'm not snake fearful. You?
I don't know. After watching the episode, I think I might be a little bit more fearful of snakes just because I didn't understand the gravity of how venomous every single snake in the ocean is. I learned a lot this episode, to say the least. It's like a biology lesson, or I don't know.
Zoology. Honestly,
zoology, whatever it would be.
Yeah, like I actually, we're in grad school. I'm a PhD candidate. I don't know nothing about snakes. I read books. I know English, right? But I know how to research. And what I did, I hit up one person who I know knows a lot about snakes, and that's none other than Omar himself. Like, this is actually last week during the preview, right? I hit up Omar on Twitter, and I'm like, Omar, like, is Jake cooked? Essentially, because this is a very poisonous snake. Long story short, Omar is like, absolutely. He is absolutely potentially cooked, right? I'm like, okay, I'm thinking in my head, right? I'm researching. I'm trying to get ahead of the game because that's just how much I love Survivor, right? I'm like, was that actually a sea krait? Yes, it was actually a sea krait. I'm like, no, it could be like a eel, one of those like lookalike animals, right? It was not. I'm like, okay, well, how poisonous or how venomous is it? And turns out sometimes they don't try to kill you, right? They're like, you're just in my way. I'm going to do something called a dry bite, where it's just like, bite, little warning, essentially, right? And even with that, I was like, Jake is probably cooked going into next week, which sucks because it is what happened. But man, oh man. Yeah.
Let me ask, when you were doing your research, did you have that like survival guide book that like the Survivor producers showed us in the episode and everything too?
I have it right here. You'll see the contents inside later, Rob. But I was making my own little book. I'm like, okay, one of the prey to a sea krait is the shoe bandit. It's like I'm adding that. It's like I'm making a real life like Pokédex at this point of like Fijian like creatures to avoid. But yeah, it was just interesting to think about and like learn more about the sea krait at this point.
Yeah, I mean, my heart goes out to Jake and every single player who has been on the island that goes through the entire months-long process just to get the chance to be able to play. And now you're there, you're on the beach, and you're not just on the beach in Jake's shoes right now. You've survived 2 tribal councils. You've put yourself in the majority alliance. You know who has the idol. You're playing as best of a game as you can, and then a snake bites you right in the foot, and all of a sudden everything is just taken away from you from that moment, and all the emotion is just poured out on the screen. I mean, and you see just how serious of a situation this is when medical's coming up to Jake and they're like, is he breathing? When I heard that on the TV, like that, like the alarm bells go off, like, oh my God, like it's not just like he got bit by a snake and he's got a boo-boo, you know, and you just got to patch it up with a Band-Aid. It's like,
Yeah.
like, oh my gosh, like it's potentially that life-threatening.
Yeah, like I didn't even register the fact that they said, "Is he breathing?" All I heard was, "Is he dead?" I'm like, you might as well would have said that because that's how like scary and intense it felt for me. But also, like I do feel for Jake. Like I genuinely, really do because I think I could tell how much he wanted it in that moment and how much all of the players really wanted. I also find it a little bit ironic, Rob, that he was always making people lose their left shoe, but he got bit on his right foot. Yeah. I don't know, it's just something right there, but, I grew up, Rob, watching a show called American Dragon Jake Long, but I think this is, like, Fijian sea krait Jake Latimer, that popping up on our screen, but, yeah, shout out to Jake, and it's super actually really unfortunate, what happened. You could just tell the heartbreak, that he experienced there.
Yeah, I know last episode I was saying, like, yo, maybe at some point he's got to hide his own shoe. I did not mean that like that literally. That was the moment. Like, if
Well,
that was the moment where he put his shoe there, he's like, he's gonna come back. He's like, I don't know where my shoe is. Like, God, hope I didn't do that to him retroactively or something
his
like
shoe
that.
got
But
hidden under his clothes that were packed in his suitcase back to Canada, but, we can't predict it. Something I feel like we could predict, though, unfortunately, again, is Kella losing another immunity challenge. But even before that, like I'm watching the reactions that the remaining people on that tribe, Sophie, Alex, Jeremiah, are having to learning the news that Jake is gone. And I'm heartbroken. Like, I'm like, oh my God, like, I mean, it's terrible. And for them to have to do an immunity challenge right after, like, this is like literally coming from a funeral and having to clock into work with no days off. It's like you're immediately have to switch those modes. And I know they're wanting to do it for Jake, but that just had to be some kind of impact on where they were mentally, especially with something mentally challenging like a puzzle.
100%. I mean, and that speaks to just how ruthless Jeff and Survivor is, right? That not that they don't care about the players and the situations, but it's like the game goes on. And in that moment, you can let that impact of just losing a player to Jake's caliber just sink you down and drag you down, or you can try to rise up above it. And they gave their best shot. But the tragedy, the big aspect of this tribe is they cannot win on a puzzle. And every single challenge has just come down to that defining moment, and they just can't eclipse it. They can't. It's hard to watch, and knowing that it was going to end in a puzzle, and every single tribe can put up their 3 players that they know are going to be in the best position possible to bring back immunity to their beach. And it's just, here are the 3 emotional like players that have been through the ringer the entire season. Go after just coming back from the funeral. It's an impossible situation unless they got like God on their side or something, just trying to rise them up.
Yeah, it's tough. And I think it would be easy to ask, oh, why didn't they, do great in the puzzle? Or why are they struggling with the puzzle? I think a better approach to that is they haven't had food like that for real. We saw like the other tribe eat a crab and stuff. They haven't had fire. So mentally, they're so much worse off than these other tribes, on top of like already having to vote out different players and then just losing another player. Again, these mental bricks just stack in to make it so much harder for them to pull off a win. But oof, there are a couple other wins. It depends on who you're rooting for, Rob, right? I'm kind of rooting for MC a little bit. I like MC from what we're seeing from her. Even though we haven't seen a whole bunch from Hina, I do like that we're seeing these idle searches or beware advantage searches happening in this round. So MC finds the Hina beware advantage, and over on Uli, we see Rizzo find the beware advantage. What was your take? What were you thinking about like these two different moments and just idols in general here?
Well, I thought I'm happy the advantages are back into the game, right? Like if there's anything happening on the other beaches, I'm glad that's what we got a glimpse of for this episode. And my big takeaway, or what I'm always trying to like watch when I'm viewing the episode, is what is a player going to do with the advantage when they find it, when it's in their possession, then when they see the beware advantage hiding in the tree in that one little like nook and crook. What are they going to do? Are they going to tell everybody? Are they going to keep that information to themselves? And we saw both players make the active decision to bring in other players on their tribe into the fold. I thought it was really interesting for Rizzo they're doing the group idol search, and he's just like, hey guys, I found this idol. It's for Uli. It's for Uli. This is cinema, you know? So like
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
appreciated that, but I don't know. What do you think you're doing? I know we've talked about this several times. Do you think it
Several?
several accidental Jelinski reference right there? Shout out Jelinski.
Mhm.
But yeah, like these tribes, they're in a state of kumbaya. Or do you think it's right for them to be sharing the idol, or the beware
Yeah.
advantage, the potential in your pocket? What are you doing?
I feel like I'm keeping it a secret. I just have to. I feel like we've seen time and time again sharing an idol with everybody does not help you because all that ends up happening is people trying to flush it. Sure, right now in this season, we're going into potentially a tribe versus tribe scenario. We're at this point not even really counting Kella because Kella is going to join one of the two sides because they can't, make up the numbers with just two of them. So it's tough because sure, I would want to try to look out for my game and look out for the best of my game. But as we've seen with Jawan this season, sometimes that means helping out your tribe. So it's tough. It's really tough. But I do think if I'm MC in this scenario, I'm keeping it to myself. But if I'm Rizzo, I want to share it with everybody. So I really think it varies. It's not a really complete answer, but I really feel like I would probably hide it a little bit.
Okay. See, I think this is where we split the vote, honestly, because looking back at the past few seasons of the new era, I every time there's been one tribe almost every single season that is just pushed down all the way to the ground, and that's Kelly, this tribe, or Kelly,
Kella? Kelly?
I don't know why I can't get it, but
Wentworth?
Sophie's
Does that
tribe.
count?
I don't
Yeah.
know. But anyway, there's always the one tribe that's just diminished in numbers. So I'm looking at the situation where it is like Uli versus Hina, and I think I need all the people on my side for when we merge, when we tribe swap, to make sure that like, hey, like we gotta stick together. We need as much information and ammunition as possible just to make it to the next round. So honestly, I don't think it's that bad of an idea for them to be sharing the idol. Just with their tribe, because I think it gives you a little bit more of an advantage to get through that next part of the game when you know that those two sides of the war, that they're going at each other. Just because, I mean, you could take out the easy bait and take out an Alex or Sophie, but that's not what we've seen from the past few seasons. So I think you really need to just jump on board and just get as many allies in your pocket as possible and just try to work with each other.
Yeah, yeah. Rob, a little bit before we started this podcast recording for this episode, I was telling you about how I was teaching today and a student really pissed me off because we're watching a movie and the student is sitting at the front row and they decide to just shop on Amazon. And if I'm reflecting on that experience, I'm like, are you really looking at different choices of makeup in front of me? Like, I'm telling, I can see what she's doing very clearly. And if I'm trying to think in her head, like, is it a deal going on? Is something like of high value? Is it a limited time offer? And it feels like the Keller members are gonna be that limited time offer to where you don't even care what's going on. You're gonna be sitting at the front row, still shopping on Amazon. We should actually be watching a movie if we're being real. But yeah, so like I definitely agree with you in thinking that these two players moving forward into the game are gonna be people that are gonna be vouched for or vied after. So I think they're gonna be better off moving forward.
Yeah, I think looking at the vote, maybe a couple down the line, if they're able to survive to that point, I think they're in a great position. I think they're going to be under the microscope, and it could be very easy to be like, let's just take them out. They're just one person. We don't have to go to war right now. But if you can make that connection with Sophie or Alex right like in the beginning, like what you're saying, like use that to your advantage. I think it'd be a smart move for either side, just like what you're saying, to bring them into the fold, to give them some life into this game because they have nobody. They have nobody to depend on. So give them that source of life, that opportunity, just to help them get to like another round further. From the trend that we've seen, these players don't make it to the end. So keep that in the back of your mind that they're not going to get to the end, but use them. Okay, maybe it's not good for me as like a future clinician for mental health counseling to be like, yo, use people, but like, bro, this is a situation to use people to your advantage.
I mean, Sophie said it herself. She's good at manipulation, so it's a part of the game. You just gotta get into it, whether you like it or not. Some people try to play the loyal route, but I don't think the
Same
loyal
hair
route,
tech,
you
same
know,
hair tech.
same hair tech. Speaking of same hair tech, I really feel like if there was one tribe, Rob, who needed a cigarette, it would be this tribe. Like they just need a cigarette to ease the pain because they once again lose the immunity challenge, unfortunately, find themselves in a three-person tribal council. Something we really haven't seen too much of in the entirety of Survivor. Like I think about Palau and the Oolong tribe, how it literally ended up being one person survive on that tribe. And here we are with the Blue tribe with Alex, Sophie, and Jeremiah. Rob, before we even talk about the tribal council and the pre-tribal council, I just want to remind us of the Survivor book, right? Because there's some things that were dangerous. There were some things that were not safe to eat, some things that are safe to eat. And I think they forgot a page in the book. And Sophie is definitely safe to eat because she ate the heck out of this episode. Like, are you serious? Like, she ate the heck out of the strategy, so she's safe to eat. Like, even if she wasn't safe to eat, she probably still would eat in this entire episode because there's so many different layers of strategy I'm wanting to get into. But I think you would agree in the fact that she ate.
Sophie be eating, bro. It's crazy.
Sophie do be
Oh, I love the strategic game that she's been playing. I've been on her every single week. No, it's awesome to see the strategy come out of these players, and almost every single player has that wired strategic survivor mind, but they're not always given the situations where they have to use all their information at their disposal just to be able to make it to the next round. And Sophie's been through the ringer, same with Alex and Jeremiah, of course, but all of them have needed to rely on that strategic survivor sense. And my God, it's like Sophie has like that sixth sense. It's the survivor, like the spidey senses, you know?
yeah.
And I don't know, the way that she operates the game, it's just beautiful to watch.
Yeah, I feel like one moment specifically that really sold me over for her strategy in this episode was when she ends up spying on Jeremiah and Alex as they're having their conversation. I'm like, close enough. Welcome back, Tony Blockos. Like, at this point, she's him incarnate with the it's not a spy shack per se. I'll call it a spy salon, like a spy nail salon. You know, I feel like that's fitting for what she pitched to Alex. But yeah, I think again, she just did the riskiest, safest option with Jeremiah. But it was so strategic in that you're thinking, how can it be risky and safe? And I'm gonna tell you why, Rob, right? So if I'm Sophie, I'm like, okay, I can take a chance at Alex. I can get him to not play his idol, but it's a three-person tribe. he's probably going to play his idol. And that's a 50-50. If he does, it could be me, it could be Jeremiah. And who knows what's going to happen. And even if I survive that and he does play the idol and we both vote for him, he's pissed. And we're the only two people left on our tribe. So going into a swap, I would be screwed. But when we think about if I change it, right? If I'm Sophie and I'm like, if I change it and I at least vote for Jeremiah and Jeremiah votes for Alex and Alex plays the idol and Alex votes for me, that's a tie. And in a tie, I could say, hey, Alex, look, I voted for Jeremiah. Jeremiah voted for you. Let's just vote out Jeremiah. So it's like on so many different levels, she guaranteed her safety in a way. And I think that was just brilliant. And we'll get into what Jeremiah was thinking as well. But I think what Sophie did was brilliant there.
Yeah, I think a lot of it starts with, do you think Alex is playing the idol or is he not? And what is your best game theory move in that moment? And if I'm Alex, I am playing the idol first and foremost. Let's get that out of the open. Dude has to, like, 100% has to play his idol. I don't care if you think that, like, oh yeah, both these people think that, like, I'm voting for them. Like, no, bro, they could be lying to you. You play that idol. There's only 3 people. There's nowhere to hide. You get yourself to the next round. So let's just call a spade a spade. Alex is playing his idol. He ends up playing his idol, right? But the strategy is you got, if you're Sophie and if you're Jeremiah, you want to either convince the person that is also vulnerable to vote that let's work with each other and just vote the person, just try to like coddle them, smooth talk, you know, give them some sweet nothings into their ear just to try to like make it seem like that they're going to actually like vote with you and that we're totally fine, right? And then at the same time, you go back to the person that is safe and be like, let's just vote out the other person. So you got to lock up both those sides, figure out, is the person that is immune going to be voting with you or not? And then that's how you end up like making your vote. So I think, I'm guessing Sophie got wind, or she felt pretty confident that Alex was probably voting Jeremiah. So she is able to kind of go down like with that foresight of, well, I'm just going to put my vote on Jeremiah. So if it's that whole like 3-person, like 1-1-1, or if it's like 1-2 or any kind of scenario, like Jeremiah sent home packing. And I think that's why also Jeremiah probably ends up going to vote with Alex, to vote for Alex, because he probably recognizes where it's like the person on this beach that's most likely to work with me is probably Sophie and it's probably not Alex. So that's probably where he made his bed, where it's, I just got to hope that Sophie's working with me and that Alex doesn't play the idol, because I don't know, like as we saw the episodes. Yeah.
Well, I feel like the big part of it was her spy salon, spying on that conversation. She's listening to Alex say, I don't really know if Sophie is going to be a person I can trust. And you know what she does with that spy salon knowledge? She turns it into, I had the same nail tech for years, or she's pitching this loyalty to her advantage to say, you don't know that I know that you don't think I'm trustworthy. So let me tell you why I'm trustworthy. Because Rob, I actually, I had the same barber for like 22 plus years when I grew up in Mississippi before I had to move out here to Maryland for grad school. And I never cheated in a relationship, or I did this, like I'm telling all these things from my personal life, if I'm Sophie, to make you believe that I'm loyal, even though the whole time I was throwing your name out there, but you don't know that. And I think that's the brilliance in the shift that made Alex maybe want to vote for Jeremiah more than voting for Sophie. And part of it too is what Jeremiah did or didn't do as well. But I do want to re-highlight that the spy salon was a big part of it.
Definitely. I mean, like, it's like the whole classic, like, sell me this pen kind of situation. And when you're the person that's selling the pen, like, well, what do? First, you actually ask the questions first, where it's like, well, what kind of pens are you looking for? Like, why do you need a pen and stuff like that? And then you're able to position that pen as the solution. So Sophie's able to, through listening behind the bush and to the conversations, understand what questions he's looking for, that he needs answers to. And so she's able to position herself. And it's a masterpiece. It's great
Yeah.
strategy.
Let's talk about Jeremiah, right? Somebody, a fan, might be thinking, well, why did Jeremiah get tricked? Or why didn't Jeremiah do this? Or why didn't Jeremiah do that? And I think people aren't giving Jeremiah enough credit for the risk that he took. Jeremiah came here to play the game just as everybody else. I don't want it to seem like people are thinking that Jeremiah didn't make a move, but Jeremiah was willing to take the risk of this person who has an idol, who I'm aligned with my number one. I don't want to vote out my number one. So in an ideal scenario, I could keep my number one and we can pull off this move to get somebody out of the game with an idol. And because of that, I'm thinking Jeremiah is having this conversation with Alex, and he's really trying not to set off Alex's red flags, which was why he didn't really push too hard. He really didn't sell his loyalty as much, perhaps to try not to make him feel like he needed to play an idol. He took an approach that was like, I'm gonna not perhaps come off as anxious and then like a cold spread my anxiousness over to Alex. I'm gonna try to keep it cool, keep it calm, keep it collected, and just hope it works out at tribal council. And I do think that was what was best for Jeremiah in his head in that scenario. But again, it just didn't work out because Alex did end up playing the idol, and Sophie did end up looking out for herself in this scenario. Because again, if I'm Jeremiah and this was a group of four, if Jake was still here, I still got that information last. I was like the fourth wheel on a unicycle. Like it's not even a unicycle at that point anymore. It's like I'm that far removed from being a part of this core group. And so for him to hang on with Sophie is his best move versus, hey, Alex, I don't really know you like that, but this is a blind date and we're just going to trust each other and vote for Sophie. So yeah, I think if I'm thinking in Jeremiah's head, that's what I'm thinking. And that's the explanation I would provide.
100%. I've been on that same page too. If anyone watching Survivor, like you're saying, like can just be like, oh, Jeremiah's an idiot, he just got tricked. But that's not the case. You got to understand the social implications as to what led to this move. You got to think about the last couple episodes. You got to think about how when Alex found the idol, they only told Jeremiah because he just happened to be walking by. And that's going to resonate with him a lot, those feelings. And he's going to have to put all of his eggs into Sophie for this move if he doesn't feel like he has that trust and that relationship with Alex. So it's not a blunder by Jeremiah in any kind of way. I think he was one of the most strategic people coming into this game that had the social means and ability to play that kind of cutthroat game. So I think the game just got a lot easier for every other single Survivor player on the beach just because Jeremiah is not there. But that is another iconic third boot, I guess, technically. I don't know how to, I don't want to say Jake was there. I don't know.
I don't know. Yeah. Technically fourth. Technically 15th place. There's the gay 15th place curse of the new era for a couple seasons. Seriously, like, think Banu, think like literally Kashan, like, so it's apparently it's a thing. Apparently, ask Twitter, right? Ask the krait Twitter account. The krait actually has a Twitter account, Rob. Like, I'm so serious. Go check that out. But yeah, and somebody else might ask, why didn't Jeremiah play his shot in the dark? Well, it's a 3-person tribe. The numbers are way too tight to lose my vote and then also take a chance at being safe. When chance has not been on our side as a tribe, we've not been super lucky. So yeah, but man, I agree with you. I think everybody else won without knowing with getting Jeremiah out or Jeremiah getting voted out under these conditions, because I think if the krait shenanigans never happened, it will be a completely different game. But if I'm Jeremiah and I'm listening to this, it's like that was out of my control. and I did all that was in my control with the cards that I was given.
You know what? Maybe I'll split the vote here with you again too. But if it depends, we need Jeremiah's perspective. But if he really thought that Alex was playing the idol, and I don't know, I think that is the situation where you would play the shot in the dark. I don't care if you only have a 17% chance. I do feel like the survivor historian sometimes, watching with all my friends here at UNC, because like half of them have seen it, half of them have not. So I'm going in depth about like, well, what is the shot in the dark? Because I was thinking that there was a chance that one of the two of Jeremiah or Sophie were going to play the shot in the dark if they felt like they were not going to be the person, if they felt like they were going to be the person voted for that did not have the relationship with Alex. So I was a little surprised, to be honest, that Jeremiah did not play the shot in the dark, because I think again, the stars have to align where you feel like Alex is playing the idol. You feel like he's going to vote for you and you don't have that relationship. And then you just have to bank on the fact of, well, I'm going to have to give up my ally, my potential number one ally in Sophie. So I don't know. I don't know. Maybe I would have played the shot in the dark if I were Jeremiah, but it's easy to sit from this chair when you're when you're at tribal council, when you have all the pressure and you have all the emotions of literally what you've gone through for that entire freaking day, where you woke up with 4 people on the beach and now everyone's going back with 2. That's a hard situation to live with.
Yeah, it's tough. It's really tough. But Sophie be surviving. I think, Rob, with that, it's time to get into our Torchy Awards this episode. But small note before we get into that, I did just want to say that whenever we got to base camp and the fourth wall broke even more, I said, oh, wow. So we're watching Grey's Anatomy. Like, this is like serious. Like, we're really seeing the real life, real deal medical squad come into the picture. But anything else before we get into the Torchy Awards?
Well, let me ask, like, I mean, this was the first time we ever saw Survivor boot camp, like base camp, whatever you want to call it. In the episode, what do you think of Survivor over time breaking the fourth wall and really giving the viewers the insight that we know has been there? Like, no, we know that there's the ships and like the camera crew like on all the rafts, but now we're really seeing it during the episode. So what did you think about getting this like exclusive in view look into Survivor?
Yeah, it was enlightening and surprising as a reminder, because we see Survivor as this end product in the way it's delivered to us. If, of course, you're not actually on the island playing the game, and we're hearing the music, we're seeing just this snippet of footage, and even looking at like the inside of the building, I'm like, oh my God, like, this is the same camera they use on the island, but somehow this feels like so much more real, so much more high definition. Like, it feels like they came into my living room at that point, because it just flipped it from tropical scenery that we're so used to outside of like a sanctuary to like, no, this person is in like base camp in a hospital type scenario. Like, so for me, it was just another reminder that we only see so much of Survivor, and that is so much that goes into it, so much that we don't see. And even thinking about how there's this clip online of a challenge without the music, and I'm like, oh my God, I can hear the wind and the ocean. And it's like it was just wow, enlightening, very enlightening. What about you?
No, pretty much similar thoughts, to be honest. And I thought it was really cool how we were able to really see Jake's journey from the beach all the way to that moment. And I want to take a moment and shout out our social media manager, Amanda, who is at this week's Brice and Wen Presents in San Francisco. If anyone knows how to throw a Survivor party, it's Brice and Wendell. So if you haven't gone to one of those, you gotta check them out. They're such a great time. But Amanda was there, and she was and you know who else was there? It was Jake. He was there watching all of this unfold. And from what I heard, it was an extremely emotional night for him, just being in that spot, reliving all of those emotions and the feelings. And I know he posted this morning too, the day after the episode, or last night, I guess, about how just what it was like for him to be reliving that moment. And that's hard. Just to know the extreme emotions that he felt and to be like, they're crying in that moment. Like, dude, like I feel for the guy so much.
Yeah, to quote that one artist whose name I'm forgetting right now, but she sings driver's license, Olivia Rodrigo. To quote Olivia Rodrigo, God, it's brutal out here because it's brutal. It's tough. It's very tough. But to use tough in a different way, it's some tough players. Like these players hard. Like it was some moves that was tough. Like if things are fire on the island, right? If we can use Gen Z language in that way, and we can say cinema, we can say tough. You know what tough means, right, Rob? That's
Oh
tough.
yeah,
Like that's
that's
tough.
tough.
Like that's tough. Getting into the Torchies, I think is one player we both can agree straight off the gate. Like that's tough. Like they're tough. Like that's tough. Like that move, tough. And you know who that is. I don't
Oh,
think
I know who that
it's a debate this episode for us,
Do
is
we
it?
do we even like yeah, I mean I feel like we spend like most of the episode talking about her. No, it's our
Yeah.
girl Sophie B. How could it not be? She gets my Torchy Award this week. I thought
Mhm.
she played a masterful strategic social game using every single ounce of just strategy just to be able to make it to the next round. And you really see her use that connection she had with Alex and hop into the her spy nest. I guess that was a thing before
Spy
with
Salon.
Hunter. Yeah, spy salon. No, it was great. She definitely gets my Torchy Award this week.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Like, shout out Sophie. Sophie B winning my Torchy Award as well. This episode, I think, hands down, she played it the most masterfully as we've seen. And it's so many different layers of strategy that I think she really utilized to her best benefit. Like, that's winner energy. Like she hockey, she's mother for real for that. I'm not gonna lie. So yeah.
All right. Well, looking ahead into the next episode, is there any player that you think might be cooked that's on the chopping block or something?
I don't know. I still think we've seen so little of the other two tribes and only glimpses of people's perspectives, but I do think Sage could be in trouble because we did see Sage tell Shannon that she doesn't really feel good vibes from Savannah. Savannah hears about this from Shannon. Savannah's like, absolutely not. She got to go. So I think Sage is getting set up to become incense and like burn. You know, like incense, right? You know,
Hmm
yes.
hmm
So yeah, play on words, right? You get it.
I gotcha. Yeah, no, I think that's a good shout. I think I might go with two players, but I did reference this a little bit before, but I think Sophie B and Alex are in a much more difficult situation going forward in the game. I think they do have some life. Obviously, they're two great players who know how to bond with people and keep themselves into the game, but for their sense of longevity, it's an uphill battle from now to the rest of the season. So I their win equity has dropped completely. I almost want to say it's at
Mm,
zero because I don't think there's any single situation where they really get to the end of this game. And
yeah,
I'd be very concerned about them and their placement when they get about like beginning of merge around that time.
yeah, yeah. Fingers crossed that because Timmy B invested in Sophie B. My last name has a B, starts with a B. So Timmy B invested in Sophie B and Alex's game. Like I want to see them do well, especially after the hardships that they face here in this pre-merge. But this has been another great Purple Pants podcast powered production episode of Split the Vote. And it's been Tim.
It's been Rob.
And it's been Split the Vote. Peace.